Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about specifically War for the Planet of the Apes, the third Planet of the Apes film, and I'm going to talk about Caesar specifically today. This video contains major spoilers for War for the Planet of the Apes and spoilers for Rise of the Planet of the Apes and for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. All right, so this movie was pretty amazing. So I actually I had one problem with the movie, which was a very poorly written villain. Not a poorly acted villain, but a very poorly written villain. All right, so let's cut that part out, okay? Let's Thomas Jefferson that stuff. Cut it out, and then think about the movie aside from that. When I think about Caesar in the movie, when I think about the ape colony in the movie, when I think about all the other characters in the movie, I really love this film. I absolutely love this film. And the reason why is many things within the film, but the biggest thing is, and I think the biggest thing is the full cradle to grave story of Caesar. So Caesar dies in War for the Planet of the Apes at the very end, okay? And his death is so touching and so perfectly done and creates such a perfect capstone to the entire film, to the film series, that it was just tremendous to me. And really, Caesar has become my absolute favorite movie series character outside of the Star Wars genre, and because of Caesar's death, the War for the Planet of the Apes films are now my favorite movie series other than Star Wars. So I would list my favorite movie series in the following order. I would list them as Star Wars, War for Planet of the Apes, Fast and Furious, Harry Potter, and then I think I would put the Star Trek films, the newest Star Trek films. I really enjoy that series, and so now that it's completed, and by the way, I consider War for the Planet of the Apes completed. Like, if they never did another movie, I'd be happy, right? And I'm thrilled to see a new set of movies, but there is something that I would really like to see for these films. If they're going to make more Planet of the Apes films, I would really like to see them bring a new team in and do a new trilogy, okay? Don't have the current team do one or two movies, and don't have the current team try to create 3 more movies. It's just too much. I don't think they would have the passion for it. I think they're probably all excited to move on to other projects, which I think is completely cool. But I would love to see a new trilogy of movies picking up right where the old trilogy left off, with a new team of creators, and maybe, which would be great, and I think you could do that because Caesar is done, right? And that's one of the reasons why Caesar's death in War for the Planet of the Apes is one of the most ambitious, one of the most courageous acts of storytelling I've ever seen done in a movie series. And the reason why is that cradle to grave. We literally see Caesar as a baby, as a boy, as a young man, as a father, as a warrior, as an aged, mature leader. We see every stage of his life, and his life is epic, and it's just tremendous. And it was very touching, to have Maurice there with him. Now, all right, so I want to talk a minute about Caesar's death. Okay, so one of the things that, I'm an evangelical Christian, and one of the things I think is really fascinating to me is many people are aware of evangelical Christian stories that come from the Bible, right? Stories that come from the Bible, right? And I would say evangelical because it is quite distinct from almost any other form of Christianity, in my opinion, right? So one other thing, and the other thing is when I'm saying evangelical Christianity, I'm saying Christians who believe that every word in the Bible, all 66 books, limited to those 66 books, are true. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean when I say evangelical Christian. So one of the stories in there that is truly epic, and by the way, I use this word story in that it is a story as part of history, but I believe, I'm an evangelical Christian, so I believe every word of this is true. So in the Bible, it tells the story of Moses. Okay, now Moses led his people through the wilderness exactly the way Caesar led the ape colony, from Mir, California, out to what looked like maybe Nevada or one of the desert states, right? And he led them to this promised land, right? So at the end, when you see Maurice sitting next to Caesar, and Caesar has now been wounded and he's bleeding out and he's dying and he's about to die, right? And he's hidden this from the entire tribe, right? And I think like the only reason he died at the end was essentially he let himself die, like in that, he just kind of wilted from knowing, like his drive to get his people, the ape society, to the promised land was so strong that it kept him moving. But when that momentum was no longer there, he just wilted like a flower, and it was so saddening and so, it was a precious moment in the movie because, we've seen every step of Caesar's life, and it's a tremendous, almost power. It has no peers. Like that scene, it is the strongest death scene, the most fulfilling death scene, the best written death scene I've seen in any film outside of the Star Wars genre, and it's just incredible. It really, really is incredible. And so, it was very touching, and and it was really something. So, I really, really enjoyed it. And one of the things that really struck me was when Caesar dies there, and he's looking down into the valley, and he can see the Promised Land. At that point, Caesar is really Moses, right? And based on what else is in the film, I really don't think there were evangelical Christian writers on this film. This is a purely Hollywood film. But the themes in the Bible are so strong, and the drama is so real that you can't beat those stories. And the idea of someone striving to bring a people to a place and then not being able to go into that place with them, the imagery is so strong that I think either consciously or subconsciously those writers put in this analogy of Moses being there, of Caesar being Moses. Now, what's also interesting is Maurice is right there with him, and he can't go into the promised. Well, actually, Maurice will be going into the promised land, right? And I really felt that Maurice was Aaron, and Aaron is this priest who served Moses. Now, there's some differences between the film and between Moses and Aaron in the Bible. Moses and Aaron in the Bible, Moses was not allowed to go into the promised land because God said, hey, the people need some water. Speak to the rock, and I will make water come right out of the rock, and the water will be there for you, and you'll get what you need, right? Well, Moses and Aaron are there, and Moses knocks on the rock twice with his staff, and is kind of like adding his own little touch to it. And for Christians, this is a big deal. It was saying, you do what God says in order to get into heaven, and you don't add anything, because you cannot add anything, right? And so, and Aaron was there, and he was part of that, right? And Aaron had the golden calf and all this, and Maurice is really Caesar's Aaron, because he gets him into a lot of trouble. Like, Maurice is like, oh, I can't leave this little girl here who's riddled with virus. Like, he didn't know she was riddled with virus, but but he got Caesar into a lot of trouble. But Maurice is also brilliant, and he's courageous, and he is down, right, to aid Caesar. He's always there, like a right-hand man. So I just cannot say enough about the amazing, amazing death scene of Caesar, the courage to put that into the story, and just, the overall restraint of the death scene. He just kind of flops over, and he's right there, and Maurice is right there with him, And all the apes come back up, and there's just so much respect and love from the apes for their leader, for Caesar, and he was a loved leader, you know, and it's just it really was a beautiful, beautiful story. I was really, really impressed with the story of Caesar from Rise, Dawn, and War. Really amazing. Take care, everybody.